Okay, let's jump right in. Picture this. A 60-year-old former spy, CIA, I believe. She's traded global intrigue for, well, chickens on a farm in quiet, sleepy Purity, Maine.
Yeah, Maggie Bird. She wants peace, anonymity, maybe some good scotch.
Mhm.
Definitely wants to leave the past behind.
But the past, it rarely stays buried in these kinds of stories, does it?
Absolutely not. And for Maggie, that peace just shatters when she finds a dead body dumped right in her own driveway.
Wow, okay. That's the hook for Tess Gerritsen's 2023 novel, The Spy Coast. It kicks off her new Martini Club series.
Exactly.
So, our mission today, we're doing a deep dive into this book. We need to get a handle on Maggie Bird, figure out this really complex backstory of betrayal that led to her retirement, and look at how Gerritsen plays with these themes of age and espionage.
And maybe touch on that term you hear a lot in spy stories, blowback.
Yes, definitely blowback. Because Maggie, the source material says she's this weary veteran, right? She changed this quiet life because a mission went badly wrong years ago.
16 years prior, yeah. And she's constantly looking over her shoulder, wary of that blowback, those, unintended consequences from past operations that can suddenly flare up.
Often years later, and sometimes even more dangerous. Her quiet life is basically a defense mechanism.
Precisely. But that defense fails. Blowback arrives when a woman named Bianca breaks into Maggie's house.
Looking for dirt on another former operative, Diana Ward.
That's the one. Maggie wants nothing to do with it, shuts her down completely. This Bianca is digging into Operation Cyrano, the very mission that destroyed Maggie's life.
And that brush-off turns deadly almost immediately.
That same night, Bianca is found murdered, dumped right there on Maggie's farm. The past hasn't just found her, it's landed on her doorstep.
So much for the quiet life with the chickens.
It's officially over. And this is where things get really interesting, because Maggie isn't alone in purity.
Ah, right. The Martini Club. Now, I have to ask, how likely is it that a whole bunch of retired spies just, happen to settle in the same tiny Maine town? Seems like a bit of a risk, doesn't it?
That's a fair question. The book suggests it's sort of mutual gravity. They understand each other, the pressures of that life. They kind of need that shared experience, even in retirement.
Okay, so it's a support network disguised as a social club. Who's in it?
Besides Maggie, you've got Ben Diamond, Declan Rose, Ingrid, and Lloyd Slocum, all ex-CIA. And absolutely no one in town has a clue.
So on the surface, they just get together to eat, drink, maybe gossip a little.
Pretty much. But underneath, they're all still sharp. The tradecraft is still there. And Bianca's murder, it gives them, well, an excuse to use those skills again.
And this feeds into one of the novel's big themes, right? Age and experience versus, the typical young action hero trope.
Definitely. Maggie herself thinks gray hair is the best disguise. People underestimate older folks, see them as harmless or invisible.
And the Martini Club uses that. They blend in, use their quiet lives as cover, but they've got sophisticated comms, observation skills.
Exactly. They use that invisibility. They seem like harmless retirees, but they're running intel operations right under everyone's noses, including the local police initially.
That underestimation, it's their shield, but also a potential weapon against anyone who comes after them.
For sure. So when Bianca's body turns up, the Martini Club doesn't panic.
Right.
They start coordinating, figuring this has to connect back to Operation Cyrano.
Which Maggie desperately wanted to forget. And this is where the novel structure is really cool, shifting between the present-day hunt for the killer and flashbacks to what happened back then.
Yeah, that structure is vital. You need the past to understand the stakes now. So flashback maybe 24 years ago, Maggie's deep undercover in Istanbul. Her cover is textiles expert.
And she's in a serious relationship.
Very serious. Long distance with Danny Gallagher, a doctor in London who caters to the super rich. But here's the kicker. Danny has no idea she's a spy. Not at all.
Oof, that's rough. And then the mission comes along, Operation Cyrano.
Right. CIA officer Diana Ward tasks Maggie with finding Cyrano, this legendary Russian deep cover agent.
And the only way in is through Maggie's personal life.
Exactly. Diana wants her to use Danny. His client list includes a Philip Hardwick, who's known to launder money for Russian oligarchs. The thinking is Hardwick might lead them to Cyrano.
So Maggie has to weaponize her relationship with Danny. That's a horrible choice.
It is. She's deeply conflicted but agrees. She ends up marrying Danny, even befriends Hardwick's teenage daughter, Bella, who's about 15.
And through all this, she actually finds Cyrano.
She does. Cyrano is identified and captured in Malta, a major intelligence win.
But the personal cost must have been immense.
Devastating. Danny finds out Maggie's a spy. He's shattered by the betrayal.
Right.
He leaves her there in Malta, planning to fly back with Hardwick and Bella.
And then the plane.
The next morning, their plane explodes over the ocean. Russian retaliation for Cyrano's capture. Danny, Hardwick, Bella, all presumed dead.
Wow. So the guilt Maggie carries isn't just professional, it's deeply personal. She lost her husband because of that operation.
Exactly. That's the ghost haunting her impurity. And now, 16 years later, that ghost is back and it's armed.
Things escalate quickly in the present, right? After Bianca's body, Maggie herself is targeted.
Yeah, she's shot at on her farm. It's a professional attempt. That tells her whoever's behind this means business and knows who she is. She realizes she needs answers. Fast.
Which leads her, Ben, and Declan to Bangkok. That's quite a jump from Maine.
It is. They're taking a huge risk blowing their cover like that, but they're chasing another retired operative named Gavin, who is also involved in Cyrano.
Desperate times. What do they learn from Gavin?
They find Gavin, and he's terminally ill. He tells Maggie something explosive. Diana Ward, the CIA officer who assigned Maggie to Cyrano, she knew the Russians were likely to retaliate after Cyrano's capture.
She knew. And she did nothing.
Nothing. According to Gavin, she prioritized the intel coup over the lives of Danny, Hardwick, and Bella, essentially sacrificed them.
That adds another layer of betrayal. It wasn't just Maggie using Danny. It was her own agency hanging them out to dry.
Precisely. And before Maggie can even process this, Gavin is killed right after talking to them.
Confirming someone is systematically eliminating everyone tied to Operation Cyrano.
Yeah. And this points the fingers squarely at Diana Ward, either as the next target or maybe even the killer herself. Maggie needs to find the truth, which means finding Philip Hardwick, the only other person supposedly involved who might still be alive.
Where does that leave her?
Lake Como, Italy. She tracks down Hardwick's former lover, Sylvia.
And who else turns up?
None other than Diana Ward, gun in hand, also apparently looking for Hardwick. It's a confrontation between the betrayed agent and the woman who arguably betrayed her.
Where does this showdown happen?
They end up hiding in an old church bell tower as their unseen pursuer closes in. And Diana, true to form,
Let me guess, tries to save herself.
instantly tries to use Maggie as a human shield, offering her up. But before anything can happen, a shot rings out. Diana falls, dead.
Not Maggie.
No, Diana.
So who's the shooter? Is it Hardwick?
That's what you'd expect, right? But this is where the theme of appearances versus reality hits hard. The figure who steps out of the shadows isn't Hardwick.
Who is it?
It's Bella.
Bella, Hardwick's daughter. The teenager who supposedly died on the plane.
The very same. It's a gut punch for Maggie. Bella reveals her mother suspected something and got her off the plane just before it took off. Faked her death.
And now?
Now Bella's all grown up. She took over her father's illicit businesses, and she's been hunting down everyone involved in Operation Cyrano, seeking revenge for her father's death. She felt particularly betrayed by Maggie, who she thought was a genuine friend.
That's incredibly cold. And Maggie's been mourning this girl for 16 years.
Exactly. And Bella's already raised the stakes. She abducted Mandy's neighbor's daughter, Callie, back in Maine, to force Maggie to chase her around the world.
So Maggie's fighting not just a killer, but the ghost of a friendship. How does she handle that?
It's tough. It's easier to fight an enemy than someone you cared about. But Maggie manages to connect with Bella, convince her that the friendship, at least from Maggie's side back then, was real, despite the mission.
Does it work?
Surprisingly, yes. In a moment that shows maybe Bella isn't completely lost, she spares Maggie, gives her a burner phone, and texts the location where Callie can be found, unharmed, back in purity.
So Maggie wins, gets the girl back, but now she has to go home and deal with the local fallout.
Exactly. While all this global CIA drama is unfolding, there's this really grounded, authentic opposition back home. The local police chief.
Right. Joe Thibodeau, described as carved from Maine pine trees. She's not used to this stuff.
No, she deals with tourists and maybe the occasional burglary, not dead bodies linked to ex-spies with high-tech security systems. Joe is immediately suspicious of Maggie.
And the Martini Club, they're not exactly cooperating, are they?
Not at all. Joe's sharp. She knows they're hiding something, that they seem way too capable, almost running rings around her investigation. But she's working with local police procedure.
While they're using like counter surveillance and encrypted comms, it's a total mismatch.
It really is. Joe's convinced Maggie's involved after the shooting happens on her property, but she can't piece together how or why. The club holds all the cards, information-wise.
They're reluctant to expose anything that could compromise security even years later.
Understandably. So when Maggie finally gets back to purity and Callie is safe, Joe confronts her directly.
Does Maggie spill everything?
No, not the operational details. But she respects Joe's competence, her grit.
Yeah.
She promises to tell her what she can later. It's a moment of détente.
And then the Martini Club does something interesting.
They do. They're impressed by Joe, too. They see she's smart, tenacious, not just some local cop they can ignore, so they invite her for a drink.
Suggesting an alliance.
It heavily implies a potential collaboration, yeah. Setting up this fascinating dynamic for the future of the series. You've got these world-weary spies with global skills.
Partnering potentially with a grounded, resourceful, small-town chief who knows the local terrain.
Exactly. It's a great setup.
So, looking back at our deep dive today, the key takeaways seem to be the long, dangerous shadow of past espionage, that blowback is real. Also, the power of experience, how age can be a disguise, the whole underestimating older women angle.
And the incredibly tangled web of relationships, the ones forged in the field versus the ones built or broken in supposed retirement.
The Spy Coast definitely launches the Martini Club series with a bang. These retired operatives are clearly not ready for shuffleboard just yet.
Not even close. They've still got the skills and maybe even the itch to use them.
Which brings us to a final thought for you, the listener. We have this team of highly capable, retired spies, perhaps now tentatively allied with an intelligent local police chief. Purity, Maine is suddenly on the radar for more than just lobsters. So what kind of trouble do you think finds the Martini Club next? Does the world come knocking on their door again? Or do they start using their skills closer to home?